Breaking news coming out of Israel and Lebanon as a drone attack has hit southern Lebanon. An apparent Israeli drone strike hit a car around the southern Lebanon's southern port city of Sidon on Saturday. Security officials have released a statement saying that 2 people were killed and another 2 people were wounded as a result of this. The attack occurred at a time when tensions around the Middle East are rising due to the Israel-Hamas conflict, a drone strike that claimed the lives of 3 U.S. soldiers in northeastern Jordan last month, and attacks on ships traversing the Red Sea by Yemen's Houthi rebels, who are supported by Iran. One of the furthest locations within Lebanon since fighting broke out along the Lebanon-Israel border on October 8, a day after Hamas attacked southern Israel, was the drone strike near the beach town of Jadra, which was some 60 kilometers, 37 miles, from the Israeli border. It was unclear at first who the attack was directed towards. Israel did not immediately respond, but Basil Sulla was described as a recruiter for Hamas in Gaza and the West Bank by the Times of Israel Daily, which claimed that he was the target of the strike. The incident in Lebanon occurred at a meeting in Beirut between Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian and Lebanese officials, including the Speaker of the Parliament, the country's acting Prime Minister, and the leader of the extremist Hezbollah organization. According to 2 security sources, the attack killed 2 people, one of whom was riding a motorcycle, and damaged a car. They agreed to remain anonymous in accordance with the law. The area was roped off by Lebanese forces. Thus far, Hezbollah officials and the Palestinian militant organization Hamas have both been murdered by drone strikes in Lebanon that Israel has been held accountable for. The previous farthest strike occurred in Beirut on January 2nd, when prominent Hamas official Salah Arawi was assassinated. The U.S. military carried out self-defense strikes on 2 mobile unmanned surface vessels, 4 anti-ship cruise missiles, and 1 mobile ground attack cruise missile that were ready to launch against ships in the Red Sea from Yemen, according to a statement released on Saturday by the U.S. Central Command. The Pentagon claimed that U.S. Navy ships and commercial vessels in the area were immediately in danger due to missiles and an unmanned vessel in Houthi-controlled portions of Yemen. Due to Israel's offensive in Gaza, the militants have been hitting ships in the Red Sea on a regular basis since November. However, they have regularly targeted ships that have shaky or unclear ties to Israel, endangering shipping along a vital route that connects Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. The Syrian military reported on Saturday that multiple locations outside of the country's capital, Damascus, had been struck by Israeli airstrikes. The Syrian state news agency SANA reported on the strikes, citing an unidentified military official, and stated that they originated from the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. It further stated that some were shot down by air defenses, and those that landed caused some material losses. One of the strikes, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a war monitor headquartered in Britain, struck a residential block west of the capital. According to the report, 3 unidentified people died. It had previously stated that figures of non-Syrian nationalities could be causalities. The attack on Saturday, according to the observatory, was the 10th suspected Israeli strike on Syrian territory since the year's commencement. Israel refrained from commenting right away. Previous alleged Israeli strikes in Syria are said to have killed senior members of Iran's Revolutionary Guard and other organizations. High-ranking Iranian commander Saeed Razi Mousavi, a longtime advisor to the Iranian paramilitary Revolutionary Guard in Syria, was killed in a strike on a neighborhood in Damascus in December. In other parts of the area, tensions have also increased. As part of Washington's reprisal for the deaths of 3 American soldiers in Jordan last month, the United States launched an airstrike on Baghdad on Wednesday, killing a commander of Kataib Hezbollah, one of the most potent armed organizations in Iraq. Formal negotiations to reduce the number of coalition forces commanded by the United States in Iraq were started by Iraqi and American officials last month. However, the negotiations were put on hold after 3 American soldiers were killed in a strike in Jordan that was credited to the Islamic resistance in Iraq. The next meeting is scheduled for Sunday. On Thursday, representatives from both nations declared that the negotiations will continue. In order for us to understand Israel's possible motives behind this, it is important to understand the history and the relations between Lebanon and Israel. The complicated history of Israel and Lebanon is characterized by protracted hostilities, sporadic times of relative peace, and decades of strife. Territorial conflicts, cross-border hostilities, and the impact of non-state groups such as Hezbollah have molded their relationship. An outline of their past relationships and history is provided below. Early history. After the Arab-Israeli War and the end of British colonial control in Palestine, the current state of Israel was founded in 1948. After gaining independence from France in 1943, Lebanon got entangled in conflicts with Israel, but did not take part in the 1948 war directly. Arab-Israeli confrontations. Since Israel's founding, Lebanon has taken part in a number of Arab-Israeli confrontations. Lebanese soldiers fought alongside other Arab armies against Israel during the 1948 war. Relations between the two nations were further strained by further wars, such as the Yom Kippur War in 1973 and the Six-Day War in 1967. Israeli involvement in Lebanon. With Israel's military incursions in Lebanon during the 1970s and 1980s, Israel's relationship with Lebanon grew increasingly direct. Israel began Operation Litani in 1978 with the intention of chasing terrorist Palestinians from its northern border. The United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, was established as a result of this operation to keep an eye on the border between Israel and Lebanon. 1982 Lebanon War. The 1982 Lebanon War is considered to be one of the most important moments in the history of Israel-Lebanon relations. With the intention of ousting fighters from the Palestinian Liberation Organization (PLO), stationed in southern Lebanon and installing a pro-Israeli administration, Israel began a full-scale invasion of the country. Heavy losses and extensive destruction were the outcomes of the conflict in Lebanon, especially in Beirut. Israeli withdrawal and Hezbollah emergence. In 1985, Israel withdrew the majority of its forces from Lebanon in response to international pressure and public uproar over the civilian deaths brought on by the 1982 invasion. But up until 2000, it had a security zone in place in southern Lebanon. With the backing of Iran and Syria, Hezbollah developed into a powerful military force and a major factor in Lebanese politics during this period. Cross-border hostilities. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, there were sporadic increases in violence between Israel and Lebanon as a result of Hezbollah's attacks against Israeli soldiers in southern Lebanon, which included rocket launches and cross-border incursions. Israel retaliated by attacking Hezbollah terrorists and facilities with aircraft and ground operations. Post-war dynamics. Following the 2006 Lebanon War, Israel and Lebanon have upheld a tense ceasefire marked by periodic clashes and breaches of the UN-drawn blue line, which separates the two nations. Hezbollah continues to be a formidable force in Lebanese politics and maintains its armed wing, which presents Israel with serious security challenges. Renewed violence, local conditions, and outside actors have impeded efforts to bring about a durable peace and settle the fundamental disputes between the two sides. In conclusion, the history of Israel and Lebanon is marked by recurring episodes of hostilities, truces, and heightened tensions. Territorial conflicts, cross-border hostilities, and the power of non-state organizations such as Hezbollah have all contributed to the continuous tensions and oftentimes violent conflicts. It is still extremely difficult to bring about a lasting peace between Israel and Lebanon. All sides must be willing to take the political risk and engage in communication and cooperation. There is still a great deal of suspicion and antagonism in the relationship between Israel and Lebanon, which is caused by a number of issues, including border security issues. There are still disputes surrounding the border, especially in the south, between Israel and Lebanon. Along the border, both sides keep a sizable military presence, and sporadic conflicts raise worries about security. Influence of Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a formidable Shia militant organization with its headquarters in Lebanon. It is still a key operator in the region and has a big say in how Israel and Lebanon interact. Israel sees Hezbollah as a threat because of its military prowess, Iranian backing, and influence in Lebanese politics. Cross-border episodes. These episodes, which include Israeli airstrikes targeting Hezbollah locations in Lebanon and Hezbollah's sporadic rocket launches and border infiltrations, add to the ongoing tensions and periodic escalation of violence. Territorial disputes. Unresolved territorial disputes add to the general climate of tension and mistrust. Examples of these issues include the status of the Shebaa Farms area and the maritime boundary between Israel and Lebanon. Absence of diplomatic relations. There is no official correspondence or discussion between the governments of Israel and Lebanon, nor do they have diplomatic ties. The lack of diplomatic channels makes efforts to settle their disputes and ease tensions even more difficult. There have occasionally been attempts to ease tensions and deal with particular concerns between Israel and Lebanon in spite of these obstacles. A role in monitoring the border and averting confrontations between the two sides, for instance, is played by the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL. But more extensive attempts to reach a comprehensive peace deal and settle Israel and Lebanon's fundamental differences have proven difficult to accomplish. All things considered, the state of ties between Israel and Lebanon at the moment is still precarious, marked by sporadic violent outbursts and persistent mistrust. It will be necessary to address underlying concerns, foster mutual trust, and engage in meaningful communication and diplomacy in order to bring about a lasting peace between the two nations. Thank you for watching till the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure the notification bell is turned on so you never miss a video. See you next time.